Hey there, PBIS committee. Miss Bentley and I are coming to you from the office.
Woo-woo!
Sorry we couldn't be there today, but we didn't want to cancel the meeting and we wanted it to be productive, so we decided to do the screencast-o-matic for you. Feel free to pause us whenever you get annoyed with our voice, but just make sure you get all the way through the video. So today, October 17th, Misha, if you'll just add in attendance for who all is there, that would be great. Some celebrations to talk about. We had 100% staff participation in the survey, the PBIS survey that we sent out. We'll talk about those results here in just a minute. Also, the bus drivers gave super positive feedback about the speeches that you got on and gave. And the ride along that Ms. Chapman did was very successful. There are still a few buses that we need to work on, but we're getting there. We're making some strides with the behavior. It has slowed down just a hair, so to speak. Some of the old business to discuss with, I did meet with Melissa Dunn right after our last meeting. There are no training dates at this point to update you on. Melissa was going to, I believe on October 3rd, she was going to a training with DPI because there are so many changes. They are now, PBIS and MTSS are no longer two separate entities, and it's going to be PBIS as a small umbrella underneath the larger MTSS one. Actually, that's very consistent with the paperwork that we at East have decided to do with MTSS, the way we're tracking that. So she was very impressed. In fact, is kind of taking the way we have that set up to the other schools and implementing that at other schools. So yay for East for being a trendsetter there. I'll let you know as soon as we have other dates. She's aware that whether it's the old training or some new training that they come up with, that we all want to get that. Or at least one of us all the way through so that we can get the next status, the exemplar status. The celebration that we talked about for last year's award for being a model school, you know, Dr. Harrington wanted all of us, or you, to go on November 13th. But when we got the email regarding that, it was specified that only one person could attend. So Dr. Harrington has asked Miss Bentley to go and represent all of us, just thinking that her schedule would be the easiest one for flexibility's sake. So thank you, Miss Bentley, for doing that. I'm going to click on the survey results real quick, and let's just take a look at that. I actually think I have them pulled up over here. Okay, so you can click on that link and pull it up as well if you're following along. You can check through the emails at the top, just shows that everybody did complete it. This piece right here where it was talking about everyone being comfortable using ABE, we wrote in our strategic plan, which we'll come back to a little bit more here in a minute, that one of our goals is going to be to get this 15.8% or these 6 people here from developing at least to proficient. We would like to shift some of the proficient people into accomplished, but that's going to be one of our strategic goals. This is an awesome way to track that data because we can resubmit these same questions mid-year and then again at the end of the year. For the attending an ABE training session, I found it very interesting that we, out of 38 responses, it was exactly 50-50. So with 19 people willing to come to training, and I'm sure a lot of those are some of our newbies, but I think it's a definite thing that we need to do that. So more coming up on that. Ms. Bentley, chime in if you need to. This one here, have you posted a copy of the PBIS levels? If each of you, you know, there's, how many people is this? 4 people that admit they haven't done it. If you'll please just, when you go back to your grade level meetings or your rotation meetings and just say, hey, if you are one of these people, please make sure that you have. That is going to be a part of one of the things we're looking for as we do walkthrough observations and whatnot.
And that's available where? Where can they go and get that if they don't have it at the media center?
They can, Crystal Mace can print a big one for them to put up in the media center, or they can also just download the student handbook and copy that page. I would suggest poster size, so Miss Mace could do that as well. Some of the PBIS reward suggestions, you can read down through these. They were pretty much all the ones that we discussed as well. You know, movie or popcorn time was one we haven't really talked about. Just read down through there and check about the things that you like. The importance of just having the electronic time seems to be in agreement. Lunch with your teacher is one that we haven't talked about before, but if we think that would work. I think the ultimate goal would be to put together a more formal list of these suggestions that we can send out to the grade levels for their next meetings to talk about, because so far, and I could be wrong, but so far I have only seen 6th grade utilizing any of these rewards systems. So we're going to...
And if we need to do a survey with students about what they would like from this list, we can do that as well.
Absolutely. Stop us now and talk about the interest in doing that if you want. You can assign me to coming up with one, and I'll kind of do like I did last time. I can take the questions you have, add a few to it, let you approve it before we send it out. My biggest concern with that is, when do we have the students do it? You know, how do we do that without interfering with the time in a class? This one is your team utilizing a level system for discipline. I think it was like a small, might even only be one. Yep, one teacher feels like their team is not utilizing that. Hopefully, Dr. Harrington and I can figure out who that is and kind of get on it, but we'll see. What tools have you used to teach this? I found some of these really interesting. If you haven't looked through these, go ahead and take some time to. Some of them are really creative, and instead of creating our own, if we decide that we want to do a school-wide thing, either with those videos Mr. Leslie sent out, or with, a poster, or whatever some of these teachers have done, we don't have to necessarily recreate the work. We can go and ask, okay, who was using a video that they've already done to teach with, or who's using a puzzle, and we can put together a school-wide training thing. I just think that would be cool. Instead of reinventing the wheel, let's see if we can use what other people have put together. Do you feel your team is consistent with expectations? This is going to be another administrative thing for us to look at. It'll be quick to see if, we've got people who we know have students that are causing lots of issues on a consistent basis, but yet we've never seen any kind of a level in a particular class. Either that teacher isn't participating in our leveling system for discipline, or the student's just phenomenal in there. Maybe we need to figure out what they're doing well with that student. So that's something administration will follow up on. Do you feel your students understand the school-wide discipline? That, again, comes back to, do we want to do a whole school-wide training? I did share Mr. Leslie's videos. A few of you commented back, but some of you never did. Please take a chance to look at those. We need to make a decision on this before our next meeting and get a training together. If we use tickets, this was a higher number than I expected. 68.4% think that using tickets is a good thing, or a good way to go for us. What we need to do, and what Ms. Bentley and I were talking about, is, those 12 holdout teachers, it might just be because we haven't made it easy. So maybe we need to come up with some easier goals for that, or maybe it'll kind of be, a little bit of a peer pressure. If we have teachers who are doing it consistently and their kids are like loving it, and then they're going saying, hey, did you get a ticket? And the other kids are going, no, I didn't. Maybe that will convince that teacher to kind of get on board. Do you feel they'll be productive? Again, I'm guessing it's the same 12 teachers from the last question. With this one, please stop and talk about that and make some comments on the agenda so we kind of know where you're headed with that. For the Falcon's Nest room, most of these are like, no, I didn't know it existed, or that it had been fixed, or no, I'm having a hard time finding time. So please, please, please go back to your grade levels and talk about how are you using them, and then we're going to come back together. That way we can share. For example, if 6th grade's finding a great opportunity to use it, then what we can do is come back and share that with the 7th and 8th grade, and maybe they can squeeze it in that time as well. I know class time is hard to give up. I get it, but we need to come up with some ways to use it. That's a resource we have that we should be using. November 2nd date is approved, so we'll come back to that in a minute. There was not a single person that said they had a problem with it. And then, what is your grade level spending the money on? Most of these answers indicate to me that we're just not having those discussions as a grade level. So please, as your PBIS person for your grade level, go back and ask specifically, what have we decided to use this money on? Get a list of it. I know Dr. Harrington has to approve it, but get that list and let's come back and talk about it. I want to make sure that fund is being used where it needs to, and make sure that everybody knows, hey, we've bought gift cards to give out. I need to be doing something to give those gift cards out. We don't want to waste the money that we have. Not to mention, if each group or if each grade level doesn't use the $1,000 completely that was given here, or they're not sure how they want to use it, I think as a PBIS committee, we might make the suggestion, hey, if you can save $300 of your $1,000 budget, let's put it towards a big PBIS end of year
Yeah, we need to
event.
know that so we can plan for that.
Comments or concerns that you want the PBIS committee to discuss. I read through all of these, and for the most part, they're all positive or didn't need anything. There was one down here that I wanted to talk about. Has there been any conversation about the connection between engaging students during class and behavioral outcomes? To me, that reads a bit like a jab at administration to get a hold of teachers maybe who aren't having classroom management or aren't working with engaging lessons or aren't keeping students on task. I'll discuss this with Dr. Harrington. I mean, we're in and out with observations, a lot of pop-in observations, and I haven't seen anything so far that really indicates to me that we've got teachers that aren't doing what they're supposed to do. If anything, I've been overwhelmingly impressed with a lot of the teaching and things that are going on in our building. Of course, the food one is kind of risky, discussing about what to do with food, as we know we have those laws to abide by. But take a look at those when you have a chance as well. All right, so we've been through a lot. Go ahead. Like I said, feel free to pause, talk, make comments. Misha, if you'll make some comments on here for us, that would be great so we know what was talked about. November 2nd, we need to, if you will, please look back at last time's notes, confirm that you want to do the things that we discussed for the rewards here. I also want to throw one more out there. We have a student that we really needed some motivation for and knew that he was really into fancy cars. So we contacted Cosmo Motors in Hickory about bringing out a Lamborghini. He's agreed to bring out a Lamborghini unless it sells before November 2nd, and in that case, I'm sure he'll bring out another super awesome car. But to let the kids look at, and we've decided to include this in the November 2nd time. We feel like besides this one particular student, there's probably a lot of our students that would like to see this vehicle. But talk about that and give me some feedback on that as well. The tickets. We asked last time, did we have any? We have lots and lots and lots of blue tickets, but we don't have any other colors. Ms. Beber's currently stamping the blue tickets with the East Alexander address stamp on the back. I know 6th grade has been using the heck out of these. As far as different colors for different grades, Nikki and Ms. Beber said they'd be happy to get different colors if you want them. So 7th and 8th, please go back to your grade levels. And rotation teachers, if you want a different color, go back and decide if you do so that we can get those ordered. They'll stamp yours as well. If not, continue using the blue. The suggestions for dispersal, pause here for just a minute and let Ms. Chapman talk. 6th grade's really got this under control. They're really giving out tickets right and left, putting them in drawings, and the kids are excited and it seems to be productive. So I think that part of our 7th and 8th grade problem is that we just haven't established an easy way for them to give out tickets and do drawings. And if we do, I think they'll be on board. You got anything on that?
You also talked about, well, I guess that's on there too, the positive rewards, the positive office referrals, where they would get a positive office referral, bring it to the office, and put it in a jar up here so that we could draw for a winner that way.
All right, what Miss Bentley is talking about, let me scroll up here, and I linked it. I don't know if any of you had a chance, but our last set of notes, I linked it. Oh, went too far. The positive behavior slips and how different they are from the blue tickets. So the positive behavior slips we're talking about is when, like, Miss Bentley's in the hallway and she sees a kid do something good. She can give it to them, get their name on it, and it goes into a drawing up here in the office that we'll do. I think we've talked about doing it once a month, where we will also give out prizes. But this is it. It's called a Falcon ticket. And it's just an opportunity for us to say, okay, we saw this student showing respect, or we saw this student rising to excellence, doing something out of the water. Put the student, their homeroom teacher name, and the date, and we'll enter it into a drawing here in the office. That's just a chance for us to be involved in the PBIS rewards and to be giving out those positive behavior things. So give us some feedback on that as well, if you don't mind. Let me scroll back down. Our bus drivers brought to me the question of the homework passes. They're saying, look, we're giving out a boy and a girl homework pass each week, which is fine, and they don't mind doing it, but they were just wondering, are they getting used? So would you please go back to your grade levels and ask, hey, has anybody turned in a positive behavior or a homework pass, from the bus? Because if they're not being used, it seems like it's just kind of a waste of time.
And they're picking them up in the office, so we know that they're getting them.
Yeah, every Friday or every Monday they've been picking them up. It's just a matter of are they using them for homework or not. For Bus of the Month, our first one will be coming up in October. We've already got a couple of buses out of the running for that because they have office referrals. But we talked to Nikki. She's going to go ahead and purchase freezer pops because she's worried that if we don't purchase some now that we won't be able to get them out of season. So